If you had a lot of money and you were going to build a new house or buy some fancy home, what would it look like and where would you build it? If you've ever thought about your dream home and all the cool luxuries it could have, then you need to see the really insane houses we found around the world that we think you'll really like. In the Arabian Gulf off the west coast of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates are several man-made island chains. Located about 2.5 miles off the coast of Dubai are the World Islands, which were built to replicate the world map. Part of these islands include what is known as the Heart of Europe, man-made reconstructions of European nations on a much smaller scale. The most unique private home you can buy in the heart of Europe are what is called the floating seahorses. As their name implies, these modern homes are designed and built to float on the surface of the crystal clear blue Arabian Gulf water. The main level of the house features a living room with nice views of the area and an extended floating sun deck. If you want to take a swim in the warm water, you can just jump right in from your deck. On the upper level, there is an observation deck and sitting area. A lower portion of the house is submerged, and also below the surface is the bedroom, which offers panoramic views of a man-made coral reef as well as a private 500-square-foot coral garden. From this underwater view, residents can see seahorses in their natural habitat, hence the name of the houses. The artificial coral reef, which lies beyond the luxury home's own coral garden, provides a protected area where seahorses can live and breed. The seahorse population in the area had been endangered by the dredging of sand and construction of the Palm Islands. So the developers of the floating seahorse houses wanted to do their part to help to restore the seahorse's natural habitat by providing this protected area. It also serves the homes with spectacular, breathtaking views of not only beautiful and colorful coral growth and seahorses, but also turtles and exotic tropical fish. Residents can reach their floating seahorse home from boats or seaplanes, and once they're there, they can travel between the islands on floating jetties to visit their neighbors or access shopping areas, restaurants, and clubs. The floating seahorses were first on sale in 2015 and are very popular. You can own one if you have a cool $3 million to spare for the 100-square-foot, one-bedroom floating home in the Arabian Gulf, and you might need to fork out some cash for the spot on the water. But if living on the water has you feeling seasick, another eco-friendly option, but in a completely different living environment, are the Green Magic Homes. If you've ever wanted to live in Middle-earth like a hobbit, Green Magic Homes have created the spot for you. These prefab houses are designed to blend right in with green environments and virtually become part of the scenery. The prefab structures themselves are made from fiber-reinforced polymer, an artificial material that allows for green living. The roofs of the structure are covered by a layer of soil so that rich greenery can grow directly on the houses. This makes them blend into their surroundings completely, connecting them to their natural environment. They're waterproof, which is important when you're growing plants, flowers, bushes, or even vegetables on your roof. And equally important, the homes are very sturdy, not only to support the weight of the green growth, but they are also earthquake resistant. The domed structure and sturdy walls are also hurricane and storm resistant. As such, they've already been approved for use in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which has one of the strictest wind-related building codes in America. Like other prefabricated homes, Green Magic Homes come in a variety of designs ranging from a modest 405 square foot model that costs about $15,000 to a 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom design which goes for about $60,000. 3 people can put together the pieces of the small model in about 3 days with minimal tools and materials. A 20-foot shipping container arrives at the location, which includes all the structural elements like wooden doors, windows, plus everything to build it with like screws, epoxy, polyurethane adhesives, and sealants to keep everything watertight. The interiors feature high ceilings, tall windows, and open spaces. They're designed to foster continuous airflow inside the unit with no corners. The home's panels are very energy efficient and help maintain a stable temperature inside. And Green Magic Homes are such simple designs that if you had an idea of your own, the company would happily modify their design to meet your personal needs. But if that's not your style, then maybe this next home will do it for you. The house inside a rock is another breathtaking modern home design that is directly connected to natural elements that is still in its conceptual stages. Mumbai-born and Shanghai-based architect Amey Kandalgonkar was inspired by the Median Saleh rock tombs in Saudi Arabia for his rock house concept. Kandalgonkar is a master of creating three-dimensional design concepts, and it took him quite some time to develop this remarkable concept house. His idea is that the modern minimalistic home will be embedded directly into the side of an enormous rock, and that would be incorporated with the shape of the rock. The result? The house and the rock fit together like a complex Chinese puzzle box. The facade of the house from the front view at eye level looks minimal. It appears as if a few concrete cubes have been attached to a rock. But the view from above reveals the complex design of the huge house and how it cuts into the natural material of the rock instead of building on top of it. An impressive ground floor entrance shaft connects to a wide, rectangular, open-air living space. There is a rooftop swimming pool which is surrounded by a massive deck next to a shaded penthouse area. A long open-air hallway cuts into the rock itself, leading from the house to the pool. Raw concrete slabs fit in around rocky protrusions. This smooth texture of concrete for the house's design is drastically juxtaposed against the rough surface of the rock, creating an interesting visual contrast. It's difficult to imagine this design in reality, but conceptual architecture at its best pushes the limits of nature and design, which is a true art form. And speaking of insane architectural designs, from the street in the suburbs of Albuquerque, New Mexico, architect Bart Prince's personal residence and design studio seems like a random collection of unrelated structures and even junk. The intermingling of styles, color, building materials, and texture is actually a desired result of the unique architect himself, and it's easy to see why this eclectic architectural creation is dubbed the Spaceship House. Prince's main design principle is that form follows function, and he is known for unique and organic projects. So each design decision reflects a special purpose for his creation. The house is built on a small lot in a residential neighborhood. The studio workspace portion of the house is set in the ground behind an earth berm in the front of the structure, which provides privacy from the street, as well as temperature and noise control. A separate entrance ramp leads up to the main living space, which includes 2 levels within the living room, bedroom, kitchen, library, and separate workspaces. A masonry tower was added later to provide a larger library and a drawing storage area. Southern-facing glazing allows for solar benefits, and large water columns on the interior are heated throughout the day with solar energy to provide hot water for the structure. The roof of the structure is a fanned arrangement of structural pipes supported by a central column, and the cover is raised off the structural concrete supports to allow for natural overhead lighting. It's also locally called the Bug House and remains the private house and studio of Mr. Prince, even though many tourists want to get a real look and take some photos. Imagine for a second that you could build some home on the side of a mountain somewhere. Maybe it might be some bold new design like this one with rooms hanging off the side of a cliff. Well, if you like the idea of homes on a mountain, Santiago, Chile affords a spectacular view of the Andes Mountains. In fact, a growing number of residents are looking to build homes in the foothills of the mountains in search of fresh air, green space, and respite from the hustle and bustle of the city. However, to maintain the integrity of the natural foothills of the Andes, regulations are in place that no construction is permitted above 3,200 feet. Architect Sebastian Irarazabal creatively solved the challenge of providing a luxurious and appealing home in the rough topography of the mountain region. He came up with the idea of shipping containers, creating what he called the Caterpillar House, for the way its elongated sections tilt up and down the steep, sloping terrain. The house connects 12 shipping containers using raw steel and concrete and consists of 6 20-foot containers, 5 40-foot containers, plus 1 40-foot container with an open top for the swimming pool. The containers are cut and welded to specification on site before being lifted into place by a crane. The containers were modified to create multiple windows, doors, skylights, and adjoining pieces. Polyurethane was sprayed on for protection, and the entire structure was clad in steel plates. The construction of the 1,200 square foot house took less than a year and cost a third less than the neighboring structures. The mission of the Caterpillar house was to blend in with the scenery as much as possible, so some sections of the container slope along the hillside. The result is a unique interior layout. Children's rooms each feature a small nook with a slight incline where the bed is to be placed. Upper levels include the bathrooms, and the living, dining, and kitchen spaces all feature exposed beams, copper pipes, and wide plank wood flooring. The custom windows, doors, and ceiling openings allow for the cool mountain breezes to flow through the containers, eliminating the need for air conditioning. Outdoor stairs at the living room end of the Caterpillar house lead up to a side deck which is connected to the open container that serves as the pool. Surprisingly, the use of shipping containers for residential designs has become quite popular lately, and for good reason. They're durable, waterproof, customizable, and economical. In a desert town north of Taos, New Mexico, dozens of adobe houses called earth ships are scattered across a 650-acre area. Ever since the late 1980s, residents of this off-the-grid neighborhood have been building these homes using natural, raw earth and recycled materials. Residents who live in the earth ships are mostly disconnected from the local infrastructure. They are living literally off the grid, not tapping into the area's power grid, water supply, and waste management provided by the municipality. They grow their own food, produce their own electricity, use recycled water, and treat their own sewage. Earth ships are based on a prototype built by architect Michael Reynolds. He set out to create an eco-friendly vessel that addresses the fundamental needs of people: shelter, water, electricity, food, and sewage treatment. There are 70 of these homes in the area in New Mexico called Greater World, and more than a dozen of them can be rented by the night. What has started as a radical experiment in New Mexico has spread to all 50 states and to over 20 countries around the world. Many of the Earthship's walls are similarly designed with the same features. They trap heat in winter and vent cool air in the summer, and they naturally maintain 72 degrees year-round. Greenhouse windows offer beautiful landscape views, but also provide sunlight for the indoor garden, which produces a variety of vegetables and fruits. Rainwater and melted snow are collected, filtered, and then used for sinks and solar-heated shower water, which is then recycled to use for flushing toilets. While conservation is the core of the philosophy behind the Earthship, it doesn't mean that residents are deprived of modern conveniences. One of the Earthships that is regularly rented on Airbnb has a chef's kitchen, high-speed internet, and Netflix. Next up is the Vickel House, a modern wonder. Using cardboard as its main building material, Vickel House is a sustainable construction that's 3 times eco-friendlier than traditional housing. Vikkelen is Dutch for wrapping, and the Vickel House was designed and built by a small company in Amsterdam, Fiction Factory, who perfected a wrapping technique that fortifies cardboard. 24 layers of high-quality cardboard are wrapped around a mold for the house's frame and then are bonded together using a super strong, eco-friendly glue. The resulting cardboard and glue sandwich walls are strong, and they are great for insulation. The outer walls are covered by wood paneling for weather protection. This cute, modern prefab house is made up of 4 feet wide sections that are light, weighing only about 110 pounds each. The section can be easily connected and disconnected, or added and subtracted, allowing for custom floor plans. The house's interiors are also custom made for each owner, with smooth plywood sheets lining the inside. There is a specialized module for the bathroom, one with a round window for the living room, plus modules that have connections for accessories for kitchen appliances, sink, and a stove. Because of their lightweight, the Vickel houses don't need a foundation and can be placed wherever the owner wants. In a forest, on a beach, in a backyard, or even on top of another building. You can even pick it up and move it to a different spot. If you want a Vickel house for yourself, you will probably have to wait for more than a year to get yours, as the company can only make 20 houses per year. This gorgeous place looked like the USS Enterprise merged with the jungle. But no, it's a very real hotel you can stay in. Situated on Mahe Island, around about 377 feet above the ocean, nestled among the beautiful woods of the South Shore, the Villa Tropic Bird is decadence dialed up to 11. You've got a view of both the sea and jungle. And if that wasn't enough, a 2016 Epic report claims that it has the best air quality on the planet. But it's not all about the location. This place has ultra-luxury rooms, all fully furnished with furniture so modern you'd think it's from the future. The Villa Tropicbird has everything you could want except a heated indoor beach, and you'll probably not find anything as luxurious, right? Well, this next place might give it a run for the money. The Luxe Swiss Chalet has had millions of dollars spent on it in order to turn it into the ultimate home for entertaining. This fantasy riverside home has a 24-karat gold bathroom, a spa with a submarine door, and a heated indoor sand beach. It was built on the banks of the Thames near Hampton Court Palace, shortly after being imported from Switzerland in 1882. But it wasn't always the height of luxury. By 1909, the chalet was used as a boathouse, and by 1996, it had fallen into complete disrepair. But come 2012, that all changed. Multi-millionaire architect Mick Durberry bought the place and decided to spend a fortune sprucing it up. And he didn't just want to make it as good as it used to be, he aimed for overkill. There's an underground party room, a theater stage, a cinema, and there's even a bridge that goes over a koi carp pool. At the request of an anonymous client, architect Juan Luis Martinez Nahuel was commissioned to build a house entirely of recycled and reclaimed materials. The house would be located near Pirihueco Lake in Panguipulli, in southern Chile. Nestled deep in the woods, the cottage's house's remote location had very little access, making delivering construction materials a particularly unique challenge. All the materials that were used to build the house somehow fit into the compartment of one truck that hauled everything out to the location. The house was completed in 2008. The framework of the house was constructed using beams and steel supports that were repurposed from a temporary exhibition pavilion in a nearby city. Glazed patio doors from a 1960s dwelling are now the front doors and partial exterior facade of the new house. And the floor throughout the house is made of eucalyptus parquet taken from a local house built in the 1970s. Great care was taken during building to protect and respect the trees surrounding the house's location. In fact, the outdoor deck was notched to accommodate the trunk of one particularly large old tree. The result is a cozy, earthy, modern-looking cottage in the woods that seems to blend in with its surroundings. That sounds like a lot, but it's nothing compared to the Playa Vista Isle. This remarkable home may have sold for over $100 million less than its asking price, being bought for a measly $42.5 million as opposed to the intended $159 million. But it still managed to break the record for the highest a U.S. home has sold for at auction. 11 buyers fiercely competed to get their hands on the keys. But what were they so keen to purchase? This luxurious mansion has 11 bedrooms and 22 bathrooms, and is a stunning work of architectural design. But it is arguably nothing compared to the Capitol Hill residence. Zaha Hadid has designed a lot of incredibly famous buildings throughout her life. Among some of these are the Maxi Italian National Museum of 21st Century Arts in Rome, Vitra Fire Station in Weil am Rhein, Zaragoza Bridge Pavilion, Guangzhou Opera House, and the BMW Administration Building. Yet throughout her illustrious career, she only ever designed one home. And it is rather predictably stunning. Most of the 28,524 square foot home is carved into the hillside. A futuristic blend of concrete and glass gives it a bold and unique look. Most striking is the master suite, which sits 65 feet above the rest of the house atop a skinny stone pillar. Conceived back in 2006, the remarkable structure has only just been declared complete. Alongside all the standard rooms, there is a library, entertainment spaces, an indoor swimming pool, the works. Dan Phillips is the owner of a very unique construction company called the Phoenix Commotion in Huntsville, Texas. What's unique about it? Phillips exclusively uses recycled and salvaged materials to build creative, one-of-a-kind structures. To Phillips, almost anything that is one man's trash can be another man's treasure. If it was discarded and it's durable, it can have a second life as building material. Most materials that Phillips uses are salvaged from other construction projects, hauled out of trash dumpsters, or just picked up from the side of the road. Phillips says it doesn't take any more time to go to the junkyard than to the lumber yard, and his primary goal is sustainability and keeping things out of the landfill. No two homes by Phoenix Commotion are alike because of the variety of materials that Phillips collects and uses. One house he designed features a colorful zigzag pattern ceiling that he created from thousands of old picture frame corners. Another house's flooring is made entirely of corks, most of which were donated by a liquor distributor. Other items he has used to create his artistic designs include broken mirrors, musical instruments, CDs and DVDs, cans, and even bones. The Phoenix Commotion has built over 24 structures over the past 20 years, including homes, studios, a treehouse, a church, an office building, and more. None of which are even slightly similar in design, but all of which are built in low-income areas for those who would otherwise be unable to afford a home. Even the construction workers are apprentices and are taught marketable skills. Dan Phillips upholds his philosophy of sustainability and community empowerment through every aspect of his company. The use of recycled materials, creating an opportunity for unskilled laborers and providing low-income housing. In the 1970s, Richard Sova was a man with a dream. His dream was to build a completely eco-friendly man-made island. 20 years later, he successfully built his first version of his dream island off the coast of Mexico. He collected hundreds of empty discarded plastic bottles and strung them together with a net. Then he placed plywood on top of the floating bottles and built a hut made of wood on it. The neighbors, who were part of a nudist colony in Playa Zipolite, complained about it, and a few days later, coincidentally, a hurricane destroyed it. For Sova's second attempt, he built his island off the coast of Puerto Aventuras, off the Caribbean coast of Mexico. This time, he got a permit from the community and he built a bigger and much more elaborate island. He lived on this island, called Spiral Island, for 4 years in a 2-story house. Collecting rainwater, Sova grew a vegetable garden, planted flowers, and created 3 beaches. Word got out about Sova's unique living situation, and Spiral Island became a tourist attraction. But sadly, a hurricane destroyed this one too in 2005. Joyce Island was Sova's third attempt at building his eco-friendly island, this time near Cancun. Joyce Island, the biggest one yet, was built from 100,000 plastic bottles and measures 8,000 square feet. It included a 3-story house, a solar-powered waterfall, a jacuzzi, a small river, 3 beaches, and various plants. The Mexican government recognized Joyce Island as an ecological boat, as opposed to an island. So, Sova needed to comply with boating regulations and add items to his living situation such as fire extinguishers, life vests, and emergency kits. Joyce Island was featured on MTV's Extreme Cribs and Ripley's Believe It or Not, and it too became a big tourist attraction. Unfortunately, in January 2019, this island also fell victim to storms. The local authorities demanded that Sova removed its remains.